I decided to watch Jock the Hero Dog, partly because I love animation, but also because I love Ted Danson. He voices a character called Pezulu, and unfortunately, I didn't like this at all. The animation is not very pleasant. And interestingly, the thing I don't like about the human characters, I don't mind with the animals, and vice versa. And I'll give specific details in a moment. The story is kind of dull. It's maybe not the most boring narrative ever, but I didn't find it to be very pleasant. Jock as a character, very likable, but other than that, and the strong voice cast, which I'll talk about in a moment, it doesn't have much to offer. Do I recommend it? If you like the voice cast, yes. If you are particularly in love with animations about dogs, sure, because Jock is very cute. But in general, if you're just looking for a good film with a nice story and some really good animation, I certainly wouldn't recommend this. This was released in 2011. It definitely feels much older. The animation style definitely feels quite dated. It's directed by Duncan McNeill, and we have a screenplay from Duncan McNeill with various other script contributors listed on IMDb, and it's based on the novel by Percy Fitzpatrick. And I did actually do a little bit of research both before and after watching it on IMDb, and basically Fitzpatrick had a dog who was apparently, according to Wikipedia, a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. I had a Staffy growing up, loved my Staffy, so that was kind of exciting. That's what I kind of expected going into this. I thought it would be about a Staffy, and it isn't. So that was a bit of a disappointment, and it doesn't seem like it's completely the same as the actual novel that Fitzpatrick wrote about his travels with his own dog, Jock. So that's just worth bearing in mind that if you've read the book, maybe it would be a different experience, but I'm also not sure how many similarities there are. If you have any thoughts on that, please feel free to share. And it is about a dog called Jock, and as I said, he is adorable. He's a very likable character. And the film is set in Africa, and it's all about him trying to make it out in the big world, partly with his master and with some other animals, and the various adventures and problems and pitfalls along the way. And we do get some good character development from Jock. He does have a lot to face, and there are chances for him to grow as a person, or as a dog, I guess. So I don't mind the character development of Jock. Credit where it's due, I thought that was okay. But the narrative itself is maybe not the most fascinating. As I said, though, we do have a pretty incredible voice cast, which is really surprising because this feels like an incredibly low-budget film. Maybe they spent all of the budget on the voice cast, and they didn't have much left for quality CGI. I don't know, but certainly the voice cast is stellar. Of course, we have Ted Danson. Jock is voiced by Bryan Adams. We also have Donald Sutherland, Helen Hunt, Desmond Tutu, William Baldwin. Really fabulous voice cast, and that's definitely reflected in the voice acting. We do have Sutherland narrating this, and while there's nothing wrong with the voice acting of the narration, I didn't feel like it was necessary to have a narrator. It didn't work very well. I feel like narration can be really beneficial for some films, but sometimes it can just feel like a really lazy way of telling the viewer what is happening or what characters are feeling. And that definitely felt like the case here. There were maybe a few moments where it was quite beneficial, but in general I found it to be quite jarring and unnecessary, but nothing to do with the quality of the voice acting there. And then we have the animation. And the backgrounds are okay. And we do have some nice landscapes. We have a really nice colour palette. Credit for the animation where it's due. However, as I mentioned, there are things about the humans and the animals that I don't like, but they're kind of contradicting each other, because I think the animals look brilliant, but when they talk, the movement of their mouths just doesn't seem to match with what they're saying. It just doesn't work very well. And this is not every single time, but a lot of the time. So that's just kind of really off-putting, makes it seem very basic and very amateur. On the flip side, I don't like the designs of the human characters, but their mouths generally seem to reflect what they're saying. So it is kind of contradicting each other, and that's quite a bizarre experience to quite like the designs of the animals, but not the designs of the humans, but finding that the humans' mouths move quite well, and the animals don't. Maybe it's because of the shapes of the mouths, and it's just easier to move a human's mouth in CGI than in animals. I have absolutely no idea. But I just found that to be quite peculiar. So it's not the worst animation in the world, but as I said, I was very surprised to learn that it was from 2011 because it definitely feels quite dated and it's not the most pleasant to look at. It's not insufferable, but it wasn't a pleasant viewing experience. The music is quite good. Finding another positive, credit where it's due, I thought the music was quite pleasing. So there are some good things in this. But in general, I don't think Jock the Hero Dog is a particularly good film at all. I recommend it with the things that I've mentioned previously, i.e., if you want to watch it because of somebody in the voice cast, or because you particularly love stories about cute little dogs. But if you're just looking for a good narrative and some decent animation, Jock the Hero Dog is not really one that I would recommend.